Hi guys, it's Jim here. I've literally just woken up. It's Saturday morning and I've just seen the news that Neil Warnock has been sacked as Palace manager. I still don't really know how to process it because I'm half asleep, but it did seem last night that Twitter was going absolutely crazy for Warnock to be sacked after the Southampton game, which wasn't a great performance. It was fairly sort of lifeless, especially in the second half. But it seemed weird for everyone to be so sure they wanted Warnock sacked, because that wasn't a game we were looking to win, was it? I mean, it's a home game and you want to do well, but Southampton are a good team, so I find it weird that after losing to someone like that suddenly everyone wants Warnock out. But I guess maybe it was more the manner of the defeat. The defending for the first goal, well, for all three goals really, was fairly poor, and that's something that Pulis brought into the team last season, and it seems to have been that defensive kind of organisation is sort of disappearing. So anyway, he's gone, so that's crazy really. I know that Steve Parish likes to, if he decides he wants to have a change, likes to do it before the January transfer window, and bring in a new guy so that you've got time to make a stamp in the transfer window. So that makes sense, but I really didn't think he was going to go. I really thought Warnock was going to battle on through and they were going to stick by him, but it's different. Football is so crazy these days, and it's all about impact and results, as soon as possible. And I guess that's why they've made a change, and maybe they looked further on down the line, decided it wasn't going to get any better with him, so decided to gamble. But for me, the question is who's out there to come in? Like, obviously Millen's going to become caretaker for the third time. God bless him. I don't think he's the guy to take us forward permanently, although I know he does want the job at some point, but whether it's now, I don't know. It's a big gamble, big ask. But who else is out there? I mean, in terms of people who are unemployed, you've got Sherwood, you've got Pulis. I mean, would that happen? Crazier things have happened than it is Palace, but we had Parish on our podcast the other day, and I just, from the way he was talking about Pulis, I just don't think that was something they would do, and I don't think it was something Pulis would do. I think he's even prouder, so I don't think he'd come back. So then maybe Palace have got to change his policy about not going after people who are already employed. So maybe you look at someone like Eddie Howe, but would he leave Bournemouth? Probably not. They're doing brilliant right now. So, Tony Popovic is one all the fans want, but is he ready for a step up from the, no disrespect, the Australian A-League, of which they are now bottom, his team, West Sydney Wanderers. So I don't know. I don't know where it leaves us. I need to go and have a cup of tea and really think this one through. But those are my initial thoughts on Warnock getting sacked. First video of this kind of nature we've done this season. So anyway, here's Jay's thoughts on the craziness that is Crystal Palace. And we'll see you for a usual video after the QPR game. Cheers.
Hi there, I'm Jay from the Eagle Speak. I'm joining Jim today on a special one of our video projects. We weren't going to do one until after the QPR game, just purely for time purposes over this festive period. So happy Christmas to everybody that watches this. And we're just sharing our views on the latest news, which is Warnock was sacked earlier on today. It was no surprise, perhaps, after the game yesterday. I don't think it was really the result from yesterday that caused him to be sacked. I think a lot of it's to do with the manner of the way we're playing at the moment. I mean, it's no disgrace to lose to Manchester City away, who are the champions, and Southampton at home, perhaps because they are a top four side, whether we like it or not. Those two games aren't alone in perhaps the owners sinking. I think the biggest ones are really losing at home to Villa and losing at home to Sunderland, which happened a few weeks ago now, but really the performances haven't been quite what we would expect from a Palace side. I mean, there really seems to be a difference in team ethic. We have the hard-working players, which we normally expect. We have the MacArthur and we have Jedinak who battle every game. But there's a few of the fringe players that don't seem to be or working as hard as we would expect and doing what we want them to do in a game. And certainly they're clearly not doing what Warnock wants them to do. And while Warnock has mentioned a lack of luck and where Palace have had a lot of luck last season, not getting it this season, yeah, he's right to some extent, but you can't always go down that route. I don't like seeing managers leave clubs or certainly be sacked from clubs. I'd rather see clubs have a bit of time, but sometimes in this day and age, with social media and things like that, impact has to be immediate, and people aren't really given the time to do what they want to do. But regardless, there hasn't been much improvement in recent performances, I back the club in that. That they said goodbye to Warnock, and he was put in a very difficult position from the outset. He took on a job where Pulis had left us 2 days before the season started, and not having a pre-season behind him, it's always going to be a tough job. But he did inherit a decent squad. Pulis worked wonders for us last season, so it's unfortunate it hasn't worked out for Warnock in his second spell. Yesterday was frustrating. The crowd were frustrated, and I think that's the quietest I've seen Selhurst Park in that second half for a long, long time. Whether that had anything to do with the ultimate decision this morning for Warnock to go, I don't know. But I guess more will come out over the coming days as to what will happen. But we really need to focus now on the QPR game. Keith Millen comes back in charge as caretaker boss. Whether he'll be considered for the main job it remains to be seen. But we really need to get something out of that QPR game, regardless of what happened in the game yesterday, and what's happened this morning. Hopefully the players can get together and show the fans exactly what this club means to them and what the fans mean to them, and we can push on together. And in view of who's come in, it's a tough one. I mean, we do tend to look at managers that are out of work at the moment, but I always feel that they're out of work for a reason. I mean, Pulis, we made a good appointment getting Pulis in last time, but I don't see many other decent candidates out there who aren't actually in jobs. I wonder if it's a view that we should go down the route of going for a manager that is in a job, being a bit ruthless. Maybe we do have to pay that compensation to get a manager in. Maybe a youthful manager, somebody like Eddie Howe's doing great at Bournemouth. Whether he would leave, I don't know. I'm just throwing a few names out there. Karanka at Middlesbrough has also done a great job since he's come in, and he was one that we were looking at before. Some managers like that, perhaps we should look at giving a chance to, and look to the future a bit more, and try and keep us in this division, of course. But I think the owners have given the new manager every fighting chance, assuming we can get somebody in relatively quickly because of the January transfer window, get a few players in that they need, and we can go from there. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll be back after the QPR game to share our views again and see what happens there, and we'll go from there. But by all means, leave your comments under this video on Palace Fan TV. And we'll catch you in early next week. Thanks for watching.